What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Dudeality podcast, where our motto is living comfortably uncomfortable. My name is Ian Perez, joined by Jonathan Mercado, Victor Rivera, and Chris Zora. We're four ordinary dudes with extraordinary dreams. Jonathan, take it away, man.
Yo, what's up, man? I just want to first start off. Me and Vic did not plan on putting on the muscle shirt today. It's just super hot in the garage. You a little sweaty. I was getting a little sticky, and summer's coming around. And we've been putting in some work.
Chris, we didn't get the memo, man.
It's warm out here, man.
The t-shirt crew, dog. It's hot.
It's warm in here.
Ian came in here, and like 2 seconds, there's like 10 drops of sweat on the floor.
My hair is greasy.
Don't worry, brother. I'm gonna go to Amazon this week, and I'm gonna start researching like little mini AC fans, not just fans, but like AC fans that produce cold air.
Little unit.
Yeah, I need to do the same thing because I do Jonathan knows because my garage gets hot in here.
Oh my gosh.
Virtual trading. It gets hot in here, bro. Like I'm sweating. Like I'm literally drenched. Like my shirt is drenched after I do a workout here.
I never done hot cardio. I mean, not hot cardio, but hot yoga. I imagine hot yoga would be something like standing in Victor's garage for 5 minutes.
Y'all want to sweat? I'm telling you, man. It'll sweat in here.
Let me tell you the story. I went to Victor's house. He's leading Saturday camp. So he's live. He's moving. We have another trainer in that it's a single car garage. There's three dudes in there. Victor's leading, screaming at the camera, telling everyone hustle, grind, repeat, grind. Here's these. And then there's a trainer working out, grinding. Like he's actually working out so people can watch and follow along. And I'm in there on the chat room, just make sure anybody has any questions. I'm there to answer all the questions. And dude, you can smell these two dudes, including myself. Like you can smell them. Like you're like 2 inches away. You could just smell this manliness of them. I was like, I gotta get out, bro. Like, oh my God, you can smell the sweat coming off their booty. It was gross.
I apologize to both of them. Like, I'm sorry, guys. It is hot in here.
Yeah, dude. I went outside. And I was supposed to be in the chat room, but I was just on YouTube. My feet propped up, getting the wind, just like
chilling outside,
dozing off. Like, oh,
that's funny.
Yo, so I just want to as always, let's start the podcast. You know, just reviewing the week. It's always important to know the things that we did throughout the week. And I want to start it off. I want to shout out Chris for a second because, as you guys know on the podcast, we've been struggling to find a broker to get us started on this real estate journey, right, on a fix and flip so that we can build some capital to start a buy and hold. And we've been through 2 real estate brokers, and then we're on our third one. And the third one, we had the first conversation, sounded so uplifting. Like everything this person said was exactly what we wanted to hear. It was like the clouds went down, the sun came out, there was a rainbow, there's a unicorn flying in the air. It sounded so freaking amazing.
Angelic singing.
And we got off the phone call, and we're like, hey, we're gonna need to, I send the information we need to send, and then we'll follow up Monday. And the follow-up never happened. They never reached back out. And then me and Chris like, hey, just text her real quick, text her, do it, email her, do all the things. And so we do all that, nothing, just like ghosting. And that's kind of been the experience what we have, where the lack of communication. And then because Chris was like, hey, bro, like if this day right here, if you do not get a hold of her, we just need to move on and just keep pivoting, right? And so that day did exactly what I need to do. Nothing happened. And then so now we both have to go into solution oriented mode, right? Where you just shift gears and like, all right, need to solve the problem. So we both went out and found a list of leads of brokers. And I had a couple of conversations, and these 2 conversations, one of them led me to, which I struggle with, is empathy. Like I feel like everyone should operate at a high level. Whatever problem you got going on, you need to shove it to the side, and you need to get on point to what you're doing. I struggle so bad with empathy, and I know that's what I need to be working on and be patient. My wife helps me out with that. But the conversation I had with this broker, and it's an awesome broker, and I was like, hey, man, can you just walk me through the process of, is what I'm dealing with okay? Should I be making adjustments? I need some advice. And he's like, listen, man, I'm going to be straight up honest with you. What's happening because of COVID, and this is a seller's market, our brokers right now are dealing with chaos, straight chaos. Some of them getting demotivated by bids and bids and bids and bids, and their clients aren't getting these bids, and it demotivates them more. Like they are in the weeds, and some of these brokers aren't used to doing this. And this is the time where people are drowning. And he's like, you need to have a little more empathy of what's going on, or find somebody that has a whole team to has an assistant to contact you. And so I was like, okay, now I'm kind of getting an understanding of what the era is right now with the amount of work they have. And then we finally, Chris, shout out to Chris. He's like, yo, I'm gonna call her today. I'm gonna email her. I'm gonna do like exactly what I did. But for some reason, she responded to Chris. All right, she responded to Chris, and she responded to Chris.
She saw my profile. Just kidding.
Oh, you saw a handsome bearded man.
Something beard. She responded to Chris, and so he's like, "Hey, we're gonna set up this meeting." He sets it up. Ghost that night, right? Like we didn't get nothing. And
yeah, so
tell me about that.
Yeah, so we were pretty ready to just give it up, like with her too, or just give up on her too. Like, but I was like, you know what? Let me try. Maybe like I don't know how Jonathan's been approaching her, but let me see what I can do. And so I sent her a message, and I was like, I just was straight up with her. I was like, what are we doing wrong? Like,
I sent that same message.
Yeah,
bro.
you had mentioned that. No, but you had mentioned that. But so I asked her, like, are we doing something wrong? Like, what can we be doing to
be better
to
clients?
Get just to get like help? And then I was like, and then I brought up how Jamal King, like that was the program, we did his program, how he always says you need a purpose for every purchase. And then so I was like, I'm just going to tell her what some of my purposes are, like what some of my whys. And I guess that really resonated with her, because she responded shortly after, and she's like, I'm sorry. Like, it's just been like a crazy week. I've been helping someone else with their clients and haven't even been able to get to my own clients. But let's set something up for the next day, or for the next day. And we're like, sweet, like, let's get this done. We set it up for a certain time. And then the next day, she texts me saying, one of our company trucks broke down. Can we move it to a later time? Like, sure, whatever, that's fine. And then it's close to the new time. I think it's supposed to be at 7 p.m. And she messaged me again. She's like, I'm so sorry, but like, we're having a problem with one of the tenants. Like, she ended up saying it was like, I guess someone thought the tenant was trying to break in, or like the owner was trying to break in, and they had to deal with all that. Like, I think I don't know if the cops were involved or not, but she's like, can we just reschedule for tomorrow? I was like, sure. And then I asked Jonathan.
Two excuses already. I'm already like up here with my blood pressure.
Yeah, like I was kind of, we were a little bit in our feelings, I'm not gonna lie. But I was like, okay, well, I know sometimes things happen, so let's set something up for tomorrow. And I asked Jonathan what time. He's like, any time. We just want to get a hold of her.
I could be in the bathroom. I don't care where I'm at. Like, any time.
So I was like, all right, let me figure out what time works for her. So she told me, okay, 3:00. I was like, sweet, like, cool, like, whatever, like, 3:00 it is. Yeah, on a Saturday. I was like, yeah, I mean, I told her, oh yeah, we're pretty flexible. So if the 3 is what you want, I'm cool with that.
3 is what you got.
Yeah. So then the next day, or Saturday comes, and it's like, I text her
3:00 comes around.
I text her about 2:50. It's like, oh, we still need that Zoom link. And then she doesn't respond.
Now, granted,
3:00 comes around.
Stop right there. Saturday, I'm with my family. I'm downtown Austin eating barbecue. My wife wants to go to the park. I'm like, baby, we can't go to the park. I got a meeting at 3:00. I need to be home, and I need to be.
Yeah, I was
ready.
Trying to take care of stuff too. Yeah, exactly.
I stopped my plans. I drove home, made it at 3:00, put up my Zoom, set everything up. I'm like, let's go. 3:05 hits. I'm like, I text Chris. I said, bro, what's up?
Yeah, and then I was like, okay, I'll give her. Oh, if she doesn't respond by 3:10, I'm gonna try to call her. 3:10 shows up. I try calling, no response. I'm like, damn. So I was like, okay, I'm one more shot. I'll wait until 3:30. And then it was about 3:15. She sends me the Zoom link, and she said, "Oh, I set it up for 6 p.m." I was like, 6 p.m. You told me 3 p.m. She's like, "Oh, I thought you said you were flexible." I was like, "Well, yeah, but we were working.
I don't think she
You had said
understands the
3
basics
p.m."
of scheduling
So
and
I think there was a little bit of
calendars. Oh my god.
misunderstanding. There was a little
No,
bit of misunderstanding.
that's
But she's
common
like,
sense.
but yeah, I mean, right. But
You
she was like, okay, like if you need to get on right now, like that's fine. Like we can get on right now. And then so she was actually in the middle of doing something, but she got on the call like in her car. She had her apprentice drive instead because she was originally driving. She had the apprentice drive, and we had the meeting, and it sounded
Stop
good. So
there.
we're cautiously optimistic.
This is
but-
why I want to shout out Chris, because he sent me the text. I already fucking closed her off. I'm like, all right, Jonathan, just go back to solution mode, cut that off. Like, it's too many signs. So when he texts me like, hey, here's the Zoom link, I'll look at it for a good 10 seconds, wondering if I should get on. Like, I was so done.
I'm
Like, I
sure,
was
man.
so done.
Honestly, I was too. But I was like, I put this effort into it. I need to at least hear her out.
I remember with the guy, literally the conversation yesterday. He's like, have a little bit more empathy with the people that are going through right now. You don't know what they're going through. So much happening right now in the real estate and broker world. And so, like it took me everything to like, okay, let me jump on. And as Chris said, we jumped on. We got everything. She explained herself. We got everything that we needed. And you know what? I understand why we weren't a priority, because we went through a course called Make Real Estate Real, and there's over like 3,000 members on there. And to be quite frank, majority of them that when they reach out to these brokers aren't even serious. They don't have everything that needed to get started. And I swear about 99% of them aren't ready to make that next step. So a lot of them are just cold leads, and they're getting a handful of these cold leads. Literally 99% of them aren't even ready or serious about making
or anything.
move.
Yeah.
And so we come from the program. So off the bat, she sees that we're from this program. And of course, we're not a priority. 99% of us aren't even ready to make the next move. And so we had to explain ourselves, yo, we're already past. Like, we're not 99%. Like, we're really, honestly, we're a 1%er. We have everything in order to make the next move. Like, me and Chris operate at a different level, and we're at a different level than the others are. So I feel that she saw that maybe we weren't at that level. We're just noobs, right? But we still operate at a different level. Thank you to self-development. And after we told her where we're at, then like the gears switch. Yeah, we're pretty serious. Here's our next steps. And so everything sounded great afterwards. Tomorrow, though, she said on the dot, we should be getting something tomorrow. I'm just going to lead with a little bit more empathy, say it like everything sounds great again. And then let's see what this thing pushes us. And like I said, man, it's all growing pains. Gotta have faith, man.
Yeah, and then like one thing I didn't even tell you, Jonathan, is after the conversation, she ends up messaging me and saying, because I had said, oh, thank you for meeting up with us when you were in the middle of something, and she's like, no, I want to thank you. Like a lot of time, or like she's like, I want to thank you for sharing your background story with me, because a lot of time I feel like I'm just doing a job, but it was encouraging for me. So I was like,
bro, like we're clients not to be messed with. Like we're some serious clients. And I totally get it that she seems like most of the people that come out of this program
probably gets a lot of duds and stuff.
Because they're all duds. And I can feel discouraged by like, do I really need to answer this email? Then the 20 that I've answered already have been nothing but wasting my time. Who are these guys? And are they going to be wasting my time as well? So she took a chance on us. I get it. And that's why I can have more empathy going forward, is because now I have a better understanding where she's coming from, because I would feel defeated. I had like this funnel of people coming at me, thousands of people. They're not even ready to start. Like,
yeah. I mean, and she already had a bunch of clients too. So it's not like she needs us. Like she has her own like legit people have been doing it for years.
Yeah, well, props to you guys for kind of sticking with it too.
Persistent.
Because,
that's why I said shout out to Chris, dog. Persistent. Because,
like, I was getting ready to. A lot of people, if you're listening, right, is take maybe a little lesson from this little insert as far as like it could have like said, no, forget about this, not what I wanted or not what I expected, or man, I'm not going through anywhere, I went through someone else, or maybe took another road. But persistence and then being honest and transparent, I think Chris kind of thing was good, made it personal. Now you're not a number to her. Now you're like, oh, it's Chris. The guy has these goals and background and wants to achieve this because of that. So it made it personal. So that was good. I think I think that was good, man. Props to you guys. Keep on grinding, guys. You'll get it. Like inch by inch, you know, a little snail by snail, but man, it's gonna pay off for sure.
I ain't never quitting, bro. No matter what obstacle comes my way, solution oriented, right? Like because we went solution oriented mode and we were looking for the opportunity, it came. And not only did it come, a lot of other advice came my way because I was looking for that opportunity and not playing victim of this is not what I expected, I'm out. It's never gonna be what you expected, ever.
There's going to be those road bumps, like those speed bumps, but it's just how you deal with them. Like some people, as soon as they, a lot of people, as soon as they hit that first speed bump, they're like, oh, this isn't for me, and they just give up. But we're not going to do that. We're gonna make this. We're going to be successful.
Yeah, we gotta want it. Like I said, knowing your why, I think it's the more important thing. That's what we did last time, right? When we first started this podcast, we put our stuff together. Like, what is our why? What's our purpose? What's our mission? Stick to those guns, babies.
Yeah. So hey, Chris, shout out for you stepping up and doing that, my man. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You.
Shout out to Victor too today for balling with me. Much love, brother.
We gotta do it again.
Much love.
So what else did you guys do this weekend?
Man, I was telling Jonathan earlier, I went yesterday as well. I was out yesterday all day, and then I spent time with family. Went down. We took we wanted pictures, so it was hard to get my toddler to sit still, take a picture, but we got a few. And then we went down to Austin, went to eat there at I think you've heard of this Hula Hut. It's like a restaurant right there on the Lake Austin or whatever. Yeah. So man, it was packed, man. It was packed there too, and then it was hot. And then we waited there for like an hour and a half. It's crazy. Wow.
People are out. People
we almost left.
Out.
But people are like crazy. They're like all up on you. Like, dude, like dude. Especially I'm not used to, like we've been like how long? Like it's been a year, more than a year. Like restaurants were empty, streets were empty, like you know, and now like traffic.
Since the COVID shots came out.
Yeah.
Literally, me and Vic played ball today. 1,000 people. I'm over exaggerating, but 1,000 people were there.
Yeah. But
shots are out, bro.
So, but I mean, the food was good there. But then we're almost left. We were like, man, all these people here, and then it's hot. We're waiting here forever. We're just hangry.
Yeah.
At that point.
No, of course.
But we're like, and my wife is pregnant, so she's like big and she's like, you know, comfortable.
Pregnant while in the summer.
Yeah, and we're wearing all of our nice clothes because we want to take pictures after.
So you were in pants, brother.
Yeah, I sat in my like nice shirt, and I was like, and my son was running everywhere. Draws. But anyway, but it was good though. We took the pictures, got the day done. We ended the day with some ice cream from Sonic, so that was good.
Bet that they stepped up their game, brother. They have stepped up their game. Mr. Ian, what's up, brother?
Just baby stuff, man.
Yeah, the baby.
It's newborn.
That's good.
And then the kids are adjusting too. Dominic's not really jealous per se. It's just he was always really good about, like, we would play with them for a minute and then he would entertain himself for like majority of the day.
Yeah.
But it seems like now lately he's just constantly wanting to play.
He wants a little bit more attention. Yeah.
Just a tad bit. And it's not like, obviously it's never malicious, so it's a bad word to say, but like it's not jealousy. He's just wanting to chill more because he's noticing that his little sister's getting more of it. So and I'm tired. So there's some times where I'm just like, I get frustrated with him. And I'm like, dude, just go play. And at the end of it, I'm like, I close my eyes. I'm like, okay, you're being an asshole. Just go play with your son. So then I go play with him for like 10, 15 minutes and it makes him happy. On top of that, sports. Kendra's playing, my daughter's playing volleyball and Dominic's playing t-ball. So
in the sports realm, super busy dad.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
And a lot of lessons that you have to teach as a parent.
Yeah, like
that's super important.
Don't suck. If you lose, you don't eat.
Like those are great values.
Don't come through the house. Don't even
Don't come back home. If you lose the game, not just you doing bad, but the whole team lose, you walk home.
Yep.
Teaches
practicing.
team, right? You no eyes. That's a team thing.
Takes
You
a
lose,
coach.
you walk home.
If she plays bad, leave her behind.
Right. Make her run. No, I'm enjoying it a ton. Like Dominic, he just out there being a kid. Kendra, I see the
Those are the
competitiveness
lessons.
coming out slowly in her mind, and it's exciting because she's weird. She's 11, but she wants to act 16, but then she acts like 8. It's like this weird, like mental maturity, like imbalance
So
thing.
that preteen.
That's
yeah,
true.
yeah. She's not even there yet, but she's there, and
That's a good point.
It's I'm excited just because she's naturally athletic, and I keep trying to tell her that, but she's so worried about who's watching and how she looks. I'm like, dude, I mean this in the most loving way. Like, you're obviously the world to us, but somebody else, you're not that important. So don't act like it. Like, don't be the focal point. And when she actually tries and lets her athleticism come out, she's all over the dang place. Like, she's the best one out there.
Try to explain it to you in the last topic when you said you want to bench a lot of weight, and I told you nobody cares about how much you lift. Same thing.
Nobody cares how you look.
No, they do. They don't. Nobody cares about you. You're not that important. I agree. Nobody cares, dude.
So one good thing about the broker that we were dealing with having to reschedule was I went to get my taxes done finally. And
last minute, bro.
And like I still have they extended it, so
yeah.
Wasn't April 14th cutoff date?
No, they pushed it out.
Yeah, well, they pushed it to March 15th federally, but I think for Texas is June something.
Yeah, they pushed it out. Yeah.
But
Texas is
yeah, so I had set up an appointment to get my taxes done, and then we show up and we get delayed an hour more than an hour before we get pulled in. I was about to leave, reschedule my appointment to get the taxes done because I knew we had that appointment, like that meeting with her at 4. And then when she messaged me, I was like, sweet, like I can get this done, and I'll still have time to eat something before like our actual meeting at 7. And so I got that done, got that out of the way, and then the next day I got to watch those UFC fights. One of the craziest cards I'd seen in a really long time.
One dude broke his leg. The other got knocked
out.
out.
Man.
He didn't break it. He obliterated his leg. Like, there's nothing there.
Who watched the fight?
Yeah, it's just so ironic.
Chris did. I did not.
Chris,
I didn't. I just read the stuff.
Okay. I watched the main fight off of Twitch. Somebody was streaming it. They weren't supposed to.
That's how to do it.
Yeah,
right.
And
bad boys.
Today I did a lot of yard work, but yesterday, besides the UFC fight, I also watched the new Mortal Kombat. And I know some of you guys watched it too.
Don't spoil it.
We're gonna spoil the shit out of it. So if you're listening, turn it off for the next.
I haven't seen it yet.
Well, fast forward.
Rate it out of 2 out of 10 because we're all 90s babies ish, right? 90s is the era that we kind of grew up in.
No,
right?
You're the only one that's a 90s baby. Or I guess you too.
What?
We're born in 86.
We're both in the 80s.
Yeah, but no.
Yeah, y'all are old.
No, stop.
90s kids, but not 90s.
You're a 90s kids, dude. So we're all 90s kids. You didn't have nothing to do with the 80s. You were just a little pissing in your pants and taking shits. You can't claim the 80s, brother. None of y'all. Maybe Vic. Vic, are you 35?
Okay, boomer.
I'll be 35 on October.
Maybe Vic can claim the 80s, but Chris, you cannot. You're
I can't claim the 80s too much.
Anyways,
Chris, you're 88, 89?
Yeah, 88. Yeah.
88. Oh, yeah, like 2 years in the 80s. I'm 80s, baby. Okay, boomer. Hey, anyways, rate it for me 2 out of 10. And yeah, let's rate it.
I'll give it an 8. I think it was a good movie. It was solid. It was a solid movie. And if you haven't watched it, I suggest you watch or read some of the background of the Mortal Kombat storyline. Is whole different than we grew up on. They made whole different things, a whole universe out of Mortal Kombat. So a lot of stuff.
Understood the storyline. It doesn't matter. The movie was shit.
I was kind of expected something different. That's why.
I didn't think it was that great either. I thought it was maybe like a 5 or a 6, maybe. That'd be pushing it.
I give it a 2 out of 10, brother.
Yeah, like, I thought there's some badass scenes in it, but I didn't think the storyline was that great. I thought it looked like it was just kind of thrown together. It didn't seem like they did a great job
I'll probably
building
agree
some of
with
the
you on the
characters.
storyline. Either the editing, they took off too much stuff out, and then you didn't really get the whole thing. I definitely didn't like the part you just start with like Sonya and like Jax been on this whole quest of like figuring out what Mortal Kombat is and figured it out. I think they would have taken us through that experience would have been better.
Here's the deal.
It's more based off the game than is what it sounds like.
So here's the deal. The actors matter, and you have shit actors. You're a fighter. You should off of a game. You should have a killer body first of all, right? Because that's just way more appealing. All right. The main character and his mindset was terrible. Who is this guy? And why was his armor like rubber? He sucked at fighting. He's lost his fights. He sucked at his fighting. He had a shit mentality. He sucked. He wanted to give up and quit. And then when he got his powers was like weak. It was like a weak armor type, like a weapon. Dude, he sucked. The main guy
energy absorbing shield.
Dog. His energy level. And who the hell Liu Kang? He's like 60 pounds, anorexic, shredded little girl. Like, not to be like sexist or anything, but he was like, dude, he's small, petite little dude who was shredded, and then of course they all get beat up at the game. Bro, I was just so upset about their fighting ability. They had to rely on their power to be good.
I would say the best scene was open.
Literally, they had to rely on the power to be good. I was upset, brother.
Well, I mean, when you're fighting like people from out of this world,
can you at least be a badass fighter like the chosen ones are in the real Mortal Kombat, like the original? Like, can you stick with you're chosen because you're a badass fighter? All of them sucked as like a fighter until they got their power and then they became cool and good. But still, it just seemed the main character just did not rub on me the right way. And his armor and in this world of technology, it was like rubbery. Like every time he moved, like you can see like little holes going through his armor. It was bad.
I wasn't crazy about the main character either. I thought they could have done a better job. I mean, even if they did want to add that new character and like, I get the storyline to an extent,
bro.
but
you could have made him badass.
But I mean, I even understand like him like showing him losing at the beginning, but then he
doesn't even get better. He just gets his powers. And then somehow he gets better. No, you should have his plus your powers. Anyway,
he didn't have his Rocky moment where he
done.
he gets beat up.
He didn't train to get good. He just got some power, and then all of a sudden he's like uppercutting people and doing just normal stuff. But now he's making the lands. There needs to be that training Rocky Balboa thing.
Yeah, so he got better.
Yeah, not just I got a power now I'm just like good somehow, bro. Need some work. Hope they look.
I'll say though, like two best characters was Sub-Zero. Sub-Zero was pretty good.
Sub-Zero was a bad dude.
Sub-Zero has always been one of my favorite characters.
Well, Scorpion's my favorite, and I was upset that he got killed by Sub-Zero. I was like,
okay, well, thanks for that.
Oh, I told you.
I wanted more of
2 minutes.
I wanted more of the Scorpion and the Sub-Zero.
It should have been the whole movie. Should have just been Scorpion and Sub-Zero.
Yeah, that would have been dope,
bro. Anyways, we need to start a podcast.
That was movie reviews.
That was fun.
I'm gonna have to watch them because apparently spoil alerts don't apply to everybody.
But I didn't say too much. We didn't say too much.
No, we just
we held back a lot.
We just gave our opinion.
We did.
Yeah.
Besides Scorpion losing again.
Well, everyone saw that one because they gave away to the world the first. They
gave that clip away. Like, if you missed that, then that's on you. We have a podcast to run, guys, and we need to help people out, including ourselves. Most importantly, which is why we started the podcast, is to help ourselves continue to grow. And today's great. As always, once a month, we talk about somebody who's done some great things in their life, who happens to be a celebrity because of their great choices they made during their lifetime. And this guy, he has a sexy ass voice. I just got to be like, say it right there. And if you don't know who a celebrity is with the sexy ass voice, his name is Matthew McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey, not only a voice, but is also voted sexiest man alive by people some
is he?
years ago.
2005,
Dude, I'm not
So
gonna
he
lie.
sounds the
At
part
one
and looks the
point,
part.
at one point, I asked my barber, "Can I ever have hair like him?"
Oh, the slick
Or my
hair.
stylist. Yeah, dude, his hair, like, man,
He has good
it's
hair.
nice, brother. It's good. It's good
Right,
hair. He has good
right now he
flow.
has like a long. But
Yeah, right now it's not looking so great. It's
I don't
just like-
care, man. If I could have long hair, I would, but I can't. Anyways, Matthew McConaughey. And normally what we like to do is unfold the whole story from the beginning to the end. So that way it's just super relatable because you can always find out that these people come from humble beginnings. Majority of them come from humble beginnings. And we like to be sure that you can understand that they're not chosen. It's all worked for with a little bit of combination of maybe some parenting, some different styles. But no matter what, wherever you come from, everything is achievable. Everything is figure outable. And one thing I love about Matthew McConaughey is that his chase of just constant growth is out of this world. And because of his chase of constant growth, he's a motivational speaker, as poet, he's very high intellectual. And I don't think we even want to go into his achievements of like how he got into acting, his movies, because the things that this guy says could be a whole hour podcast because he's just that deep. And hopefully one day I can hope to be in those shoes where I can just be at that level intellectually to speak about things and stand for something. It's just phenomenal. We are going to touch up a little bit about the early beginnings. So I feel like that's always super important just to make sure you understand listening. They didn't come from wealth. And I don't think I'm ever going to talk about somebody who came from wealth, right? Because none of us came from
I mean,
wealth,
we
except
already
for
did.
Chris.
We talked about Kobe, so I didn't come from well.
Did he come? Well, his dad was in the NBA, huh?
Yeah, but he
Ah.
wasn't making bank money. He played in the 70s.
Yeah,
They were
right.
making a lot of money back
there
then.
you go. Yeah.
I
They
mean,
made, like,
but
a couple.
I mean, it's I don't think it matters if you come from wealth. It's the
No,
person
that's true.
themselves. Like,
Oh, you
Yeah.
make a good point. It does not come from wealth. It has to be learned. Damn it, Chris.
Yeah,
Thank you
he
so
never
much for
got. He
covering that
never. He was
part.
never given what he had to work for it. So
Even if
Yeah,
it's given to you, you have to earn it because
Yeah.
you'll just lose it. So, and thank you, Chris, for catching that. If we do cover something that comes from wealth, it is just as hard. Man, I like how you said that because honestly, it is just as hard, if not even harder. You have all this pressure of how to learn and hold it and sustain it, right? Because just giving it to you, you would just lose it. Speaking of that,
yeah, how many people does that happen to?
so because we into problem solving mode with the broker situation, I've been watching this guy go to the gym. He's a little older fellow, maybe like 50s, 60s years old. And he just always works out. I noticed he always drives the fanciest cars, like the brand new Corvette for the longest, like the Corvette that it doesn't look like a Corvette.
It looks like
It
a
looks
Ferrari.
like a Ferrari.
The
It looks like a
C8, I
Ferrari.
think.
Yeah. It looks
Yeah.
like a Ferrari. And I always like, man, I want to talk to him. Whatever. But I never do because I don't ever what to say. And then he shows up now with a Lamborghini. And I'm like, you know what? I saw him show up with the Lamborghini. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to speak to him at the opportunity in my head. Like I spoke into existence. The opportunity presents itself. I'm going to speak to him. So as I'm leaving and go wash my hands, and there he is. I was like, well, you asked for it, Jonathan. And so I got it. And I just spoke to him. I was like, hey, man, if you don't mind me asking, is that your car out there? And then that just kind of led the conversation. And then I spoke to him about what I'm doing and asked him what he did. And he's into real estate. And his son drives a Corvette now. He drives a Lambo. And I was like, hey, what did your son do? And he's like, well, right now he's about to graduate high school. And he has to go through 3 to 4 years of college business before he can even run my business. And so once again, this kid's growing up with wealth, but he just reemphasized it. Hey, you still have to put in your reps and learn it, or else you're not going to be able to do anything with it. So, hey, I just thought I'd throw that in there as a little token of what Chris just said. Even if you have wealth or don't have wealth, it doesn't matter. You both have to earn it. If you're listening.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for pointing that out. But yeah, Matthew McConaughey, this topic's different. Let's just touch on a few things. And I wanted to touch on one thing. And I want to, hear your point of view, because I feel like whatever we touch on with Matthew McConaughey, we have a lot to work on. Like we do. We need to be able to reflect and grow from these situations. And so Matthew McConaughey, I'm just going to read this off. It's a small quote, and then I want your perspective and maybe something you can relate to about it. Is you can have everything you want as long as you don't need it.
That's deep right there. So you don't repeat it again?
Yeah, I'll let that sink in. You can have everything you want as long as you don't need it.
Yeah. feel that right there. I feel that right there. I think for just off the bat, it just tells me like there's certain things that have control over you, like things that you can have, like what is it? Like money. If you have a lot of money, it can have control over you. Like things that you can have that kind of change you or like make you do things that out of your character. All right. But so those are the things probably you shouldn't have. All right. But I think if you have something but you don't need it, like I think you can still be happy without them, type of thing. That's how I see it. I think the perspective of what I'm thinking through.
Ian, what do you think about this one? You can have everything you want as long as you don't need it.
Yeah, I mean that tends to happen a lot. It's weird if you think about it. Like there's a lot of little things in life that just randomly pop up, like money, for an example. You're like, oh, I wish I really had this a couple months ago because I was really struggling, or I can't think of anything off the top of my head. But it really is crazy. Like when you don't try to achieve something, but it just naturally comes.
You do have to spend some focus. I get it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, so like, yeah, you sharpening tools and putting reps in for certain things. But if it's to Victor's point, if it's not the main emphasis, like your life doesn't depend on it, then and it just comes your way, it just comes naturally
because
you don't
of the reps you put in.
Yeah.
Chris, you have anything on that?
I think that if it's something that you don't need, you can appreciate it more. And I think that's part of where he's getting to, because he seems to be a very appreciative person. Like he truly loves, I mean, he truly seems to like be grateful for everything that he has. So I think he might be leaning into that, but I mean, I could be mistaken.
So here's where I can relate to, because this speaks so much into my life. And I'm an open book, right? Because we're all going to make mistakes. We all do things maybe for the wrong reasons, but as long as you learn from these mistakes, we can continue to grow and move forward. Well, in CG, there's tiers and levels to positions that you can grow up to, right? And so I was obviously on level 1. I was on my way to level 2, and I was in level 2 is leadership. And so I was pushing hard for leadership, because obviously there was an income raise. And so that was my main focus, because I really needed the money. And because I was so focused on trying to achieve this position, because I really needed the money, I literally was probably the longest person in the process to achieve this position, because I was so focused on what? The outcome. I was so focused on the outcome because I needed it. Like I needed to make this money to continue to just pay what I needed to pay. And so I shifted gears. I fixed the money situation, right? I went on a crazy strategic budget where I no longer fiend for money. And I started to shift the focus where now becoming a leader, I wanted to enjoy the process of just becoming a leader. So I no longer fiend and needed the money from leadership. I now was focused on the process and let that build me up. And because I was so focused on the process and not on the outcome, it happened naturally. And I think when you try to push and force something because you need it, it applies so much pressure and not genuine actions, I would say, because you're trying to get there before a certain reason. You're most likely applying too much pressure on yourself and you're just going to bust it. Like you're not going to do well. As opposed if there wasn't something on the line and you're just doing it for the fun or maybe the love of the process, it's more likely going to swing your way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. I think you guys approached it kind of see it. Maybe that's where the whole quote is that things would come on their own as long as you have the right reasons.
The right intentions.
The right intentions, right? Because I did it for the money and it never came. So I switched my situations, got out of the money trouble, and now I did it for the love and the hunt of just growing and getting better. And then it just came on its own when I was focused on the process.
You can kind of make it spiritually in a sense. Like if you believe in a God or God, I would see it in a way that it's not meant for you, so you're not supposed to have it. So that when it does come and it seems natural, it's because that's the path that's been paved for you. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think
what's up, Vic?
No, I said I think that was also the mindset. Like we talk about, shifting your mindset and having the right mindset.
Love it.
to get something. And I think a lot of us, I think, we're so obsessed. We get obsessed with the end result. I think we touched about this.
Yeah, about
earlier.
the platform, growing your roots, right? Because if you don't have
Yeah.
the roots, the platform's never going to support you.
Yeah, so like don't be too obsessed with trying to get to the end result, but focus on the grind of the process of getting to that place. Self-develop, get to where, and also I think one thing is like sometimes you don't get the end result, or you don't get what you want because you're not even ready for that thing yet. You're like mentally, personally, you're not ready to actually achieve that success, because let's say you do get it, but you're not mentally ready, you haven't personally developed, and you mess it up.
Yeah.
So that sometimes it takes growth, and like once you grow, for some reason, once you've grown your mindset or changed your mindset, then you achieve something.
Yes,
because now you're ready for it.
Yes.
That seems repetitive. I don't mean to cut you off, but you actually brought up like your business a couple podcasts ago.
Yeah.
Talking about how there's people that started the same time as you, but their growth was bigger, and that you said exactly what he said. And it seems repetitive, and everybody that we're talking about is that, I guess, and even our lives as well too, is that if we were presented with what we want right now, we would fall on our ass and we would fail.
For sure. It's a sign that you need to grow. But as long as you learn from these, right? And so I'm able to take what I learned from that situation, and we applied it to this real estate thing that just happened, because this the broker asked us a serious question. Are you looking to profit a lot, or are you looking to not profit as much, but learn the process and get started now? And because I understand that the process is more important than the outcome, I told her straight up. I was like, I honestly really don't care about the profit. I care about the process, because if you teach me the process, I will multiply the shit out of this and become a monster at what, bro. I swear, I recognized what she said and asked me, and I already knew. I do not care about the money. I care about the process. And thankfully, that situation came from me struggling early on when everyone was blowing up and I wasn't, because that made me shift to focus on the process. So
and then the two of us have had that conversation too, like even as far as how much money we want to be making off our first property. Like she was looking at properties that would net us like over 100K or close to it, and we're like, we just want to get the first one under our belt.
We just want to do it.
I
Like
just
we
wanna
just
get
want
in,
to do we just want to do the process. I mean, obviously you want to make profit, but like we don't need to be making that kind of money right off the bat. Like we need to learn. And that's the biggest thing,
brother.
Yeah.
Because you can make that money once you learn over and over and over again. Like
you guys remember,
exactly.
I would say, so that's like a testament to you guys, because you've grown so much to know what the difference, like, I don't want a rich quick scheme. I want the knowledge, because that in long term is going to get me not rich, but wealthy. So there's a difference, different mindset.
Yeah.
What's the saying? That you can feed you can
give a man a fish for a day.
Give a man a fish,
he eats for a day.
He
Teach
eats
a
for a
man to
day.
fish, he eats for a lifetime.
Yeah.
So
you're like,
me.
so you guys like, I want to learn how to hunt. I don't want to learn how to fish. Like, I want to learn the process. Don't give me the steak. I want to get a steak on my own.
I want to learn so I can have steak every day, because I know how to get it.
Yeah.
And man, I personally, and I tell my kids all the time, I freaking love life. I love life so much because the opportunity to learn and go hunt. I love to hunt, guys. And that's what wakes me up in the mornings. The opportunity is, can I go get this on my own so that way I can teach it to my kids eventually? That's what drives me every morning. I need to go figure this out. I need to go hunt. I need to stay hungry, and I need to go through all the obstacles now. So that way, just like Matthew McConaughey is writing this book and this story of red light, green lights, or what is it? Green lights?
Green light.
So that
Green
way
light,
he's basically telling these stories so that you can kind of learn from his mistakes. So that way it's a little bit easier for you on your process, on your journey. And that's all I'm trying to do. That's my legacy, is give my kids the blueprint, not give them the wealth or give them the money, but give them the blueprint of loving to hunt on their own and enjoying it. That's passionate for me. I think we can end it there, right? That's right there. Enjoy the process. Don't focus on the result, because that shit will come as long as you're focused on the process. And I want to swing it to my man, Mr. Ian, because he has another topic from Matthew McConaughey. Matthew McConaughey, thank you so much for being so intellectually fulfilled that you're able to drop these knowledge on us, and hopefully we all can learn something
Thanks
today.
for being sexy too. Like if you don't have his book, like you can. I would suggest getting on Audible, because if you don't even get like a nugget out of it, you at least get to listen to his voice for 6 hours.
You'll get thousands of nuggets.
But literally in the first 2 minutes, he says a quote. He says he's a man that he believes that the truth is only offensive when we are lying. And I kind of want to reword it as the truth is only offensive when we're lying or when we know we're wrong. Because a lot of times, even like in arguments with spouses, you'll be going back and forth and they say something and you get super pissed because you know you're wrong, but you can't be wrong. So I just kind of want to get y'all's guys' take on y'all's thoughts on that particular quote. Because for me, as soon as I heard it, I got chills and I knew it was supposed to stick. Because I have a big, really bad habit of when I'm wrong, I get mad because I can't be wrong, but I'm wrong most of the time. So
I think from listening and then researching about him is that I think you have to be true to yourself. You have to be honest with yourself. I think like honest with yourself of who you are when you're wrong, when you're in the right, when you have what is it, things you got to work on. You got to be truth about it. True to yourself. You're not perfect. You're not good all the time. There's things you need to improve on. You're not a perfect person. So you have to know yourself. I think that's where I take it as. It's like, hey, like know your faults and then work on them. You know, don't pretend to be something that you're not. That's how I take it.
I agree. He honestly, he speaks out into one of the interviews. I forgot the guy's name, but he's on an interview and he talks about people are going to make mistakes over and over and over again. And yes, I know what Chris says. If you keep making the same mistake, it no longer becomes a mistake. It's a choice. But where I'm going with it is that if we don't ever make mistakes, how are we ever going to grow? Even if we make them over and over again, how are we ever going to grow? And I'm trying to, how can I wrap that around to what you just said? Repeat what you said. Come on.
I forgot what I said.
It was
the truth only hurts.
The truth's only offensive when you are lying.
Okay.
Or when you're wrong.
So that brings me to lying. And he has 3 values in his household. And did any of you guys know the 3 values that has kind of generated his household and kind of what he preaches to his kids now? Do y'all know the 3 values?
Don't lie.
Sure.
I remember hearing it a couple months ago when he was on a podcast, but I don't remember. I didn't see
so
it when I was looking.
Don't lie.
Don't lie.
Don't say I can't.
Don't say I can't.
Don't hate.
And don't hate. And so the don't lying part, and that's a big reason why he says what he says, is that lying, don't lie, and you won't get pissed off for no apparent reason. And that kind of leads me back to Jocko's book, Extreme Ownership, is that helped me out a ton of whenever I think we all been to the point where we're trying to lie to our whoever, so that way it doesn't end up on us. And it kind of like, in actuality, it kind of like, it does blow up in somehow, some way it catches up to you. Like always, lying, I don't care what happens, it always finds a way to come back on you. It's like what kind of missile is that? A tracking missile? A heat-seeking missile.
Yeah.
Like no matter how you try to avoid it, it's going to find you.
Yeah.
It's going to find you. And so extreme ownership is when I had to stop, because I used to lie to Desiree just because I can prove a point, and I would get heated and I would get more heated. But as soon as I started
didn't say that.
As soon as I started like just owning up to my shit, it didn't hurt as bad.
The fight's in
It's that contradiction, right? You think it's like
But
a
it can-
shield.
But it can also be more, not so much lying to other people, but lying to yourself. So that you might want to believe, or you might want to tell yourself, "Oh, I was in the right for this reason," or you might try to justify your actions, but you know deep down inside that
You're lying.
you're lying, and that's why it hurts so much. Is because even though you want it to be true, you know you're wrong, and you don't want to be wrong.
But I get it. I think we all been there. And I think that's a great quality that his parents instilled in him.
Which is nuts because his parents were nuts.
Oh,
They were
His
crazy.
parents were
Did y'all-
hippies.
Did y'all hear the stories about how he grew up? Like I'm 2 hours in his book, And it talks about all the book is about is just stories. It's just stories, and there's life lessons in there. And the first part of the book is just him growing up in this household, and it's just basically domestic violence. It's craziness. It's his dad just being super alpha, like alpha to the max, and just shows that no matter what situation that you come from, you put some good values into your whoever you put some good values into your family household, you can end up on the other side. You can do great on the other side. And his household was pretty wild. He could break the cycle because of the values, no matter if it was domestic violence or if you got molested like Matthew McConaughey did at what age, 18?
18 in a car.
18.
Yeah.
In a car. You can come up on the other side.
And another thing that he used to do, like that his parents used to do to like discipline like him and his brothers, is if they were arguing, they would not let them go to sleep until they hashed it out. Like, I don't care if you have school in the morning, like you have to hash this out. Like, you're not going to eat, you're not going to do anything. Like, you have to hash it out before you can do anything else.
I kind of like that,
And
but
so-
just
yeah.
I don't like harboring stuff, and that's something I'm trying to understand from like a female perspective, because Steph and Kendra are both like that. Like if something like if there's beef between us, something happened, I have to talk about it now because I don't want to keep it my whole day. Where they need time to go off, think about it, and kind of get over it to have that conversation. I'm like, no, let's talk about it now, squash it now, so then our day's still good.
But not everybody can operate like that. And I've learned I can operate like that. I'm like, bet I can extreme ownership right now because of some development that I've done. But other people would need a little bit more time, because if they're still heated, they're going to react off emotion, right? So I now, in my situation, my wife, I do have to give her maybe an hour before we speak. And sometimes she has to, like, sometimes I can't even control myself. And then maybe she has to give me an hour before we speak. So there does have to be a little bit of time for us to really think about the shit we're going to say before we say it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I think everyone's different.
Everyone is different. But I'm like Ian, like if we get in an argument or something said, let's talk it through. We're already here. Let's do it. But that's what everyone's the same. So people need some time to think.
They just need to not get heated.
Yeah.
Because you're not heated.
Then that goes to the quote. Like she said, if someone says something and the other person knows that they're wrong, that's when it just straight back up.
Everyone needs to be not heated. And I think Ian and Victor are just like, they're cool at that moment where they want to talk, but the other person is still heated. So I've learned to like, hey, let them cool off too. So now we're on equal ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let them cool off and know when that is. But I think what we want to like collect from what Ian said about the quote from Matthew McConaughey is don't fucking lie.
Yep.
Or accept
the truth.
Yeah. Or accept being wrong.
Just take ownership.
It's okay to be wrong.
Just take ownership. And if you don't know what ownership is, read Jocko, Extreme Ownership.
Listen to that one too, because that man's got a voice.
He got a sexy ass voice too. Jesus.
Afghanistan, 2001. Oh, I'm in the moment. I feel
you are in the moment. Discipline equals freedom.
Is that how he sounds?
Pretty much.
Yeah. And it's slow. And I was in the woods.
It's real methodical and intense.
And you could smell the victim.
I haven't showered in 23 days.
I smelt him, snapped his neck, and I never forgot about it.
Wow.
Lesson learned.
And I watched Mortal Kombat and gave it a 2 out of 10.
Bro, so yeah. Anyways, he has a crazy good voice. And so,
funny.
hey, just never lie. Take extreme ownership because it's a contradiction. You think lying is going to help, and it 10 times out of 10, it doesn't help. I try to teach my kids that. And I think it's a great value to have. Just don't lie. Just tell the truth, and maybe I will respect the truth, and we can keep moving forward. But if you lie, bro, that's going to amplify, and I'm going to end up finding out anyways because you suck at lying.
You're going to get in trouble. Just tell the truth. But if you keep lying, you're going to get even more trouble.
Double trouble. Yeah. Chris, what's something that you took away from Matthew McConaughey doing your research?
Well, like the success part of like just his view on success, because like when you look back at just like his career or like his life in general, even when he was acting, like even when he was a big star and was sexiest man alive, like no one really took him that seriously. No one knew that he was as smart as he was because he was doing all these rom-coms and people are like, oh, he's just a good looking dude in these cheesy movies. But then he proved like he's like, even though he was cool with doing those, like he enjoyed doing those, and like he wanted to be seen for more, and you just saw him like in Dallas Buyers Club and like more serious movies after that, and he's constantly, like you mentioned earlier, he's constantly trying to grow. And I mean, it's been obvious, like he's been able to not just be an actor, he's also, I mean, I think he even directed some like a short film before he even acted, but he's done that. He wrote that Green Light book.
Isn't
He's
he a
a
professor?
teacher at,
Yeah.
he's a professor
Professor,
at University of Texas.
poet.
He's something for the Austin FC. I
Yeah,
forgot
he's
what he is.
minority. Yeah, he's the minority owner of the
Yeah.
Austin FC,
Oh, that's right.
and
Owns it.
yeah, and he was saying he might even try to run for governor next year.
Yeah.
Like,
No, I
mean,
heard that.
he's constantly trying to do
Better.
more, and like, but it's all like, even the more he progresses, seems like the more he's doing it for the people. Like he wants to put more good into the world. And one thing that he had mentioned is like, he's like, everyone should strive for success, but everyone's success is different. Like he said, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's you want your fame, fortune, happy marriage, whatever it is, you got to strive for that, and don't choose anything that's going to jeopardize your soul. Like you still want to be true to yourself. But so you want to prioritize who you are and who you want to be, and don't spend time like with anything that's going to antagonize your character.
I read that. I saw that
So,
quote.
yeah. I was like, just don't worry about appealing to others. Just do what you want to do, and like, I mean, you can bring like happiness into your life.
Man, I see that as knowing what you want. And I think
Yeah.
Matthew McConaughey, if anybody that we ever talked about, this guy lives in self-development mode, self-discovery, constantly growing to make not just himself better, but people around him, the legacy, and just build to impact the world. And I think that's one thing that we're all on. I think that's the whole reason why I think so many people miss the boat with self-discovery. It's taboo. Is it taboo?
I don't think a lot of people want to. You don't want to find out what's wrong to a lot of people.
I think a lot of people are just lost in their
It's easy
own
playing
lives,
victim.
or they're
just lazy, don't want to do the work,
or just too busy to even stop and smell the roses type of thing.
Or content. People get content. You don't push.
No, I think
okay.
I personally think it's just easier to play victim than grow. I think it's easier to point the fingers at why you aren't where you are than to point the finger at yourself. I think that's just way easier. That's why it's easier to do.
It's a piece of it, maybe for some people, but there's other people that are content. They're content
where are in your life, like, because I think from him, like,
everybody's content. I can honestly say I think everyone lays their head down at night and thinks they can do better.
Well, they say they're content, but it's a combination of being content and laziness.
I think the way he means it, because even now, like when he achieves success or achieves something, he like meditates on what that is. He meditates on the success he just had. If like he had a great movie or he had something that happened great, he'll like just meditate on what just occurred. And a lot of people don't do that.
Yeah, and like I said before, it's like he doesn't like he applauds anyone for like reaching for success. It doesn't like it. What your success could be considered minor compared to someone else's success, but like in your mind, that's a big success. Like whether it's earning this job or whatever, having children,
whatever goal you have.
Yeah, whatever goal you have, and you accomplish it. Like as long as you don't give up. Like one thing about Matthew McConaughey, he goes like kind of full throttle with everything he does.
Yeah,
like he takes it to the limit, and I mean, he will push himself probably too hard sometimes. Like he lost so much weight for the Dallas Buyers Club, and his body hasn't even recovered 100% since then. Like, but he did it.
We talk about does that.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's one of the things that he says, that if you have an opportunity, don't half-ass it. That's in his book where he says it, like, don't half-ass something if you got an opportunity. And I think also that's one thing that we can learn. And then we constantly talk about too is like if you're doing something, right? If you're trying to work for something, one, know your why, know what you want it, and then work hard for it. Like, really work hard for it, do the work, right? Don't expect someone to give it to you. Don't expect that luck to fall your way. Really do the work, really do the grind. And that's what we see in him as far as his career, where his is just acting. So he goes full throttle on every like part that he has, right? Like losing weight or getting really deep into the
role.
The character, the role. I think everyone that like he won an Oscar for that one, right? He won an Oscar for the Dallas Buyers
I
Club.
believe so. Yeah.
So anything that you do, like I say, going through and what we talked about a little bit earlier, like the process. Like he went through the process of like doing the work, getting into the role, losing weight, doing this. He said he hired a dietitian. He did it like a way to get to that weight that he wanted to get to play that role. So he did all the whole thing. He didn't do all that to like, oh, I'm gonna go to win an Oscar. He's went into like, I want to be my best in this role, and the result, Oscar, right?
I think finding balance is overrated a tad bit. Finding balance, because it leaves you. And so this is what he explains. I'll explain it, the context in a little bit. But I think always, I think the society is, hey, you want to find balance, and that leaves you in this little narrow road of you trying to live within this balance. And you never go on this extreme or this extreme. And something that I took away, because I'm always about moderation. Like you do things in moderation, like for fitness, or you don't ever want to go to that extreme. It's kind of like the mindset I've always adopted. And except for a few things, and that I've seen some great benefits of going to the extreme and coming back to the middle. But Matthew McConaughey always talks about in one of his interviews is he touches the extreme on either way. He touches it and he gives himself not just 2 lanes to live in. He gives himself 16 lanes so that he's able to swerve back and forth and then do at the high end level and then find a way slowly back into balance. And then he speaks about going off after he goes to extreme, going off into like a 7-day spiritual find myself type back thing. Gives him time because he went so far on this edge. He got to get centered again, right? And I was like, whoa. And I'm like I said, like we're always trying to and I'm always trying to challenge myself because I'm always like moderation. Like do things in moderation, and you won't be off on that 2 side. But he's like, go do things in extreme, but be sure that when you go to the extreme that the walls are padded. Like be conscious. Don't do stupid shit like drink and drive. You can kill somebody, like really change the trajectory of your life. But he said, go to the extreme, but make sure it's padded. So put you in environments where it's padded, where there is some kind of like something there. So you're not going to freaking die or kill somebody, but you're able to get some bruises, some a nosebleed and come back, find your way into the center. I admire that a lot. And it made me think about me just always trying to do things in moderation. Sometimes I'll reach out to do something crazy. And now that I think about it, the times that I always went to the extreme and found my way back has always been the biggest benefit.
Yeah, I think for me, it's always been, I kind of had that mindset of, oh, there's a time to like be extreme, there's a time to do, it's time to chill. Like there's always a time to choose to do that. But that's pretty cool. That's something from him that I kind of learned is like how to like go in those like, what is it, chill moments, or like, cause he said they had a dream about like going to the Amazon River. And then he actually went.
He freaking went, bro. He followed it.
And then came back. He went to like a self-searching type of thing, and then came back like
self-discovery.
Better. Yeah, self-discovery.
Yeah, he's all about living in the now. He doesn't like to live in the past. He doesn't like to even think about too much about the future. He's just really focused on living the now.
I admire this guy so much, and I'm going to adopt a few things. But before we start adopting a few things, I want to hear what Victor learned from Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, there's a couple of things, but the things I think I like the most, I think that will be resonant for us. What I learned from me, like today, I think I'll take it for me right now, is he talks about green lights and red lights in his book. And as far as like, well, it's green, yellow, and red, but the green lights, so the green lights are the good stuff that happen to you. Things are going well, like, everything's in the flow, everything's good, like there's this, the sun's out, everything's great. And then there's times in your life where things are running good, and then there's times where things go bad. Like that's your red lights, or maybe your yellow lights, to where things slow down. You hit a bump, they're like, oh, this slows you down, you know,
Cause you to think, right? There's a lot
yeah.
of thinking in those yellow lights.
So that's what he says, that life is all about these gray and green lights, red lights, and then yellow lights. But but the red lights are like at the hard times, but it gives you kind of an opportunity to grow. This is where he kind of goes into the most, is that the red lights give you kind of, he says, three choices. Like at a red light, gives you three choices. One, you can persist, you can push on whatever that tough time you're going through. Is either you choose to push on, or you have a choice to like pivot, right? Change a little bit, turn around, do something different, but still trying to get it done.
Skirt.
Or just concede, just give up. So you have these three choices. And so he talks about that. And then, but he says, whatever choice you make, it's going to ultimately decide, right, your fate, right? And so I really like about that, because I think for me, it's like, I think life, and he says that happens all, like the red lights don't stop, the yellow lights don't stop, but red lights lead to green lights. That's what he was saying.
Yes,
so
sir.
For every red light you get, you'll get a green light in the future. Sometime in the future, things
if you understand.
Yeah. So he says, like, again, the red lights can lead to the opportunity if you stop and learn. If you stop and learn what the red lights, like what went wrong, what could be different. Like if you kind of grow in start to learn from it. But if you don't take action or learn from it, then nothing's gonna happen. And so that's something that I think is pretty good, and that kind of ties into his thing of like never reaching like the epitome, right? He's always gonna, I think, talk about his hero. Like his hero is always 10 years from now, so he's never gonna be his hero. So I think it kind of ties into like this is kind of a circle of life. You can have green lights, red lights, and yellow lights. We get to learn from the yellow lights and the red lights, and that's gonna help have more green lights. So I think it's like we talk about all the time. Don't take failure as like, oh, you suck or give up. It's more of like, hey, just you failed, cool. Yeah, now let's learn from it. What went wrong? What could be done different? Do I need to go learn a new skill? Do I need to learn, something different? Maybe I need to talk to someone that knows about this, like you guys did, right? You talk to someone that's in the game and you kind of learn what's going on to give you perspective of what to do, right? In problem solving, what you guys are going through to the real estate. So I think that resonated with me, because life is up and down. So I think in my life have been ups and downs, right? Ups and downs. I think in the early years when I was like in my 20s, I really didn't stop to learn of like why I was failing on certain things, like marriage, relationships, career-wise, because I wasn't stopping to like learn. Like I was just like, oh, it's hard knocks. I just gotta go through it. I'm gonna keep working and I'll eventually get out of it, but never really stopped to learn. And I think if a lot of people did more of that, like stop, what happened here, right? And get better. So that's what I took from that particular, from Mcconaughey the most, is that the green lights, the red lights. I think that was pretty cool.
I take the same thing, because I'm 2 hours in the book. I didn't get the goal was to finish the book today, but that didn't happen. But I took the same way. He talks about the red lights, green lights, and yellow lights. And I think I had a conversation with my son. I'm about to speak about it. But he says majority of the people will hit the red lights and never see the blessing from these red lights. All red lights are blessings. All red lights are blessings. I'm going to let that sink in, because it's hard to see that, because not everyone has that mindset. And so if you can adopt this mindset, I think you're going to do great in the world. And so I had a conversation with my son. Today was the first day that he got to play with the big boys in basketball. Like he got to run fives on the full court with men. And so obviously he didn't get to touch the ball, right? He was playing defense up and down the court, and nothing really happened, right? In his eyes, he didn't do anything, right? And so he could kind of feel discouraged, or I didn't help out. I didn't even touch the ball. And then so I made it a point to discuss about the red light, green light situation. And I said, hey, this could have been a red light for you right now. It seems discouraging. You didn't touch the ball. But I need you to understand that every opposition, every adversity that you hit is a blessing. And if you can understand that now, you're going to be far better off than anybody else out there. That every red light, adversity, opposition trial and a freaking tribulation, whatever you come across that's really hard, if you can understand it right then and there, that it's a blessing and that you can learn from it right then and there, that means you can have fewer red lights in your life. And I think that's the problem, Victor, is if you would have stayed in your 20s mindset, right now in your 30s, you will continue to be at every red light you can go on to hit. But because you learn that every red light is now an opportunity, a blessing to get better, and you're actually sitting in the situation of how I can do better, you're going to come across less red lights. And I explained that to him today. And I think that's super important because Rocky Balboa talks about it, about getting punched and getting back up. It's not hard. You get hit. How hard can you get hit and keep moving forward? I think he really missed the mark just a tad bit of how can you avoid getting hit a little bit more? Like, what is the bob and weave that I need to do? This is the lesson learned. And so that reaches deep with me because if I could teach my kids one thing, it's to make sure they understand in the moment of adversity, there's a blessing in it.
Yep, learn from it.
Boom. Jog out. That was deep.
What do you guys think about that? The green lights, the red lights, Ian, Chris?
It's funny how literally if you're hitting every red light and you start to gripe about it and get frustrated with it and get upset with it, you hit more. you literally hit more. If you think about it, like you hit two, you're like, oh my God, I'm hitting every red light. And then you start red light.
Or you're like,
when you're rushing, when you're rushing,
you're in a hurry,
trying to
catch every red light.
Yeah,
no hurry.
It always seems to work out that when you need to be somewhere at a certain time, you get all the red lights.
No, but it's so every red light, I mean, even when it doesn't go your way, there's something to learn. And that's what I try and teach my daughters. If you're not making mistakes, this is something I've learned just by talking to y'all for the past couple of months. If you're not making mistakes, you're not learning.
You're doing something wrong for not making mistakes. We need to make mistakes quickly so we can get over and move forward.
I mean, in the whole red light, green light, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about, like, just like as far as being ready for something. Like, if you rush, if it's something that you need to do, it's not going to happen how you want it to. But when what were we talking about? You said it was between need and
want.
And just like want.
Need none.
So like when you just want to be somewhere, that's one thing. Like you hit a red light, or you're like, okay, whatever. Like I'm not in a rush. But then
somewhere.
But when you need to be somewhere and you hit that red light, you're like, come on, man. Like let's go. And then you get the next red light, and then the next red light, and then it's like every single stoplight, you're hitting those red lights, and then you're late.
And you're rushing. So, like that red light turns green, and you rush to try and miss the next one, but because you're rushing, you end up hitting.
Can I be honest? Exactly. With you? When that happens to me, literally, I have to get frustrated. I'll get to the point. I think we all get frustrated when that happens. But when I get to that frustration point, I stop, and I say to myself, this is happening for a reason, because what if it was a green light and I get into a wreck? Mm-hmm. Or what if there was a green light, there's a cop right there that's going to get me speeding. And so that calms me down immediately. Oh, man, I can't believe how you need to be super aware, just super aware, and just talk to yourself. You can talk to yourself more, guys.
I tell myself, I'm like, all right, I'm already going to be late, so there's no point in trying to be less late.
I'm worse than everybody, because if I'm not 15 minutes early, I'm late. Like I have anxiety. I have like real life anxiety.
My heart rate goes up.
My heart races. I get sweats. I get super uncomfortable. My wife hates it. She knows if I'm not 15 minutes early and we're driving somewhere, please don't talk to me.
Yeah.
Like that's just because my anxiety just rises through the roof, and I'm like fidgeting and I'm touching the steering wheel, and I'm just all over the place. And then I have to catch myself at a red light. I'm like, I'm hitting these red lights because there's a blessing behind it.
Yeah, I used to be the same way. Like I had to be 15 minutes ahead of time, or I felt late. But
I hate being late. I
hate being late too. But like I'm also like, if I am gonna be late somewhere, like I try to let this person know I'm running a few minutes later. Like I at least want to show them that I respect their time, and like let them know. Yeah.
And that helps you out mentally when you text them and let them know. Now you're like, oh, you don't feel obligated to keep speeding because now they know. Yeah. Good point, Victor. Good stuff. Red light, green light. If you haven't read the book, guys, Matthew McConaughey is.
I want to read it now. Hearing so much about it.
Yeah, it sounds like a good book.
It's the craziest stories on top of stories on top of stories on top of stories. Like I said, I'm 2 hours in, and it's not more like self-development, but it's something that you could take from each story.
Yeah.
And he's a great storyteller. Like I'm like, man, this really happened to you, bro.
I could
Like this
fall
is
asleep to his voice.
insane.
He's had an adventurous life. I would say that he's gone across the world. He's done a bunch of stuff.
And my man he got arrested for being high, and he was playing drums butt ass naked on a football field.
Yeah, he talks about living to the extreme, living in the moment. He talks
Was
about
it football
being
field?
within
I
thought
thought it was his house.
Or maybe in his house. I could have sworn I saw
Or
a
like-
football field somewhere, but he was.
Or like when he
He's
didn't want to
naked.
work for his dad, like for his dad's company, so he ended up moving to Australia for a year at 18 years old, I think he was, and just was washing dishes in Australia and cleaning chicken dung.
He says he needs to go touch it, and that like he needs to go experience it. So
Yeah.
he can find his way back.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going to take a nugget from that of going to the extreme because, like I said, moderation has always kind of been my deal. So in a couple of weeks, my wife and the whole family are leaving to Lubbock, and I'm staying behind because I need to work a little bit. And so I'm going to be almost a week without my family, by myself, no kids, no baby, no nothing.
Go
And
in the
so
woods, go camp. I'm just kidding.
I think I want to take myself by myself to maybe the woods and do like some real deep spiritual self-development type thing. Kind of
Charge
bring
your phone
me,
though, just in case you need us.
just trying to bring me back centered again. 'Cause, man, like I said, I love what Matthew McConaughey is doing. And if you ever want to be somebody that you're aspiring to be, listen to their advice, right? And don't go to McDonald's and ask to make the best pizza. Hopefully you don't do that.
Hey, that's a quote right there.
Peace.
Quote right there. If you
The quote
take
right
anything
there,
from this podcast, don't go to McDonald's asking for some pizza.
Jonathan Ricardo, 2001, guys. Take that quote. I think that's also just a great
2001 or 2021?
2021.
Damn, boy, you're 20 years later.
You said when you were 11?
It's the jellyfish. It's 2 in.
There we go.
Hey, shout out to me. I told myself I'm gonna start dieting and leaning out, and I'm only drinking once a week. And this is my once a week, and it feels
There we go.
amazing. And if I
Baby
am going to
steps.
drink, I am going to account for it. All right.
Oh,
I'm gonna
counting
account
it?
for I'm counting it. We're back on
Like
the
it.
grind, dog.
So what's gonna happen
Yeah.
is he's gonna get half of one in, and it's toasty time.
All I know is I'm gonna get fucking shredded.
Yeah, let's get it.
Let's end this podcast. Let's get out of here.
I have 2 quotes that I like.
Just one. I'm playing with you.
I
You
like
do
it.
whatever you want.
Oh, I know. No, one of them. Where was it? It says Matthew McConaughey says life's barely long enough to get good at one thing, so be careful what you get good at. Another thing that I like that he said is life's not fair. It never was. It isn't now, and it won't ever be. Do not fall into the entitlement trap of feeling like you're a victim. You're not.
Best quote. I wrote that down in my notes.
But,
Yeah, I actually looked at both of those quotes too. I was like,
That's
those are
that
good.
Rocky quote.
Yeah.
It gave me the chills in a different way because he's more sexy voice sounded.
What's funny, he's got the little whistle at the end of his words, but he makes it sound good.
Like Mike Tyson.
No.
Nah.
No,
He's
Mike
got that
Tyson.
accent. He got that
Mike
Texan
Tyson.
accent.
We need to do Mike Tyson because his trajectory and mindset and intellectual and spiritual. Yo, I don't even know who Mike
oh,
He
Tyson
went to
is.
jail.
He goes
Yeah.
from eating somebody's ear to being like doing some crazy like intellectual, spiritual stuff and on a high level.
He has a podcast now.
Maybe,
Bro,
yeah.
we need to do Mike Tyson. But anyways,
But to close it out, Jonathan, what you got for the week, dude?
I haven't told anybody, but I wanted to start researching a new endeavor.
Oh,
My mindset just
what's
can't
up?
stop. My mindset, it just does not stop, brother.
so OnlyFans or something?
I will be like, so I'm inspired. Mark Wahlberg is another person that I admire. He's an entrepreneur and owns like 10 different businesses.
He's good.
And he just opened up my mindset of like, yo, I know, Jonathan, your personality, you can only focus on one thing. So and so that's putting me in a box. I feel like I could do so much more. So this week, I'm going to start. I can't say what I'm doing yet, but I'm going to go into deep dive researching because why not? I can like personality isn't permanent because that book I read last month and Ian read that shit too. Like, dude, just because you're like execution, one thing only, like, bro, expand yourself. I can do way more. If Mark Wahlberg can run 10 businesses, I can at least do like a couple.
I can do one. I can do one at least.
I can at least do like a couple. So I'm on to the next, baby. I'm just here to grow.
Awesome, man. That's good.
Vic, what you got for the week, brother?
Man, it's just working, man. Training. Don't have much to planned out this week, to be honest with you. So I just spent a lot of time with the family, so I didn't really think the week through. But just training and just connecting with my campers. Really, haven't done it in a while.
Noise. Topher.
You're the only person that calls me. I just really want to get this real estate thing going. Like, I really wanted to I hope we can get like properties to look at this week and
I want
find
to put a
something
bid on something.
like this week. Yeah, that'd be ideal. So I'm just looking out for that. I want to start getting into my second book of the month. I mean, it'll probably be my book for next month, but just started a little early.
Yeah. Same here. We reread Anthony Blankenship within I read it in 2 days. Chris read it in a day or a couple. What did you? A day?
I mean,
weeks?
yeah, it took about 5-6 days probably.
Yeah. So now I'm already in green lights and reading through that for next month. So I'm ahead of the game. I'm getting slow and steady. This
I gotta
bad boy.
catch up. I slacked. Baby
I gotta
happened.
catch
and I
up
was
too.
Yeah, you just have to find a routine, Ian. You have a new whole routine.
That's my week is getting the routine
Get
going.
a routine and
Yeah, I
love the
also
game.
want to we've all been slacking a little bit of promoting this, so
Bro,
just getting
have
our word
we?
out there.
Yes.
So
I'm
we
on
do
it.
need
Yeah,
to get a little.
I have for sure. Even my wife brought it up today.
Oh, so have
Yeah.
I give
I mean,
thumbs
we
down
all-
to myself.
I've been posting my days, so
Thank you for
Yeah, no,
acknowledging
yeah,
that, dog. Hey,
Yeah,
Speak
so
of-
I want to
if you-
get back to focusing
yeah.
on that a little bit more.
if you're
too.
listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or Google or just audio only, we do have a YouTube channel. It's the Dudeality Podcast. So if you could drop a subscription, that'd be awesome.
yeah. I get the gazelle of the week.
The Gazette.
The what?
Gazelle, not a lion, but a gazelle. When it comes
Oh,
to that
gotcha.
aspect,
Yeah, it's hopping around.
posting, yeah.
We'll get better. Always getting better.
I just want to hire somebody.
But that'd be nice, right?
For your social
Um,
media.
social
Eventually,
media marketing.
yeah.
Can we just get a budget
Once this
going
blows up a
now?
little bit, yeah.
Well, that was originally my wife, and then she started her own business, so she's all into that. So she left. She stopped posting my Duality podcast.
That was swing her a couple dollars.
Man, she's focused on her. I will
Yeah,
say
I
this
know.
one thing I'm proud of my wife. She's been on it.
I need to
She's been
order
on it.
something from her. Something's coming up.
So,
I
yes.
need to make an order. Hey,
I'm with you.
y'all, charcuterie board, guys, top of the line, Austin,
Charcuterie.
Texas. Need to jump on it. Best charcuterie boards out there, hands down.
Charcuterie.
Hit up Vic. Hit him, DM'd him, slide in his DM.
All up in the DM. Anyways, as always, thank you for joining us today. Till next time. Peace and love.
Yeah.